Hey, my name is Stephen Roberts. I am 19. I go to Bethel to studying to be a surgical tech. I currently work at the hospital. I screen for COVID, and I live in Lake Worth. So my disability, it's a rare condition, so like there isn't really a name for it. But from what we know from the doctors have told us, it's a side effect called maternal diabetes. It comes from my mom having diabetes and me being obviously born through my mom. The impact it's had on my life, it's when I was younger, it had a big impact on my life, like mental and physically, like small things like getting up steps and stuff. Like I have to find my own way to do it. But other than that, it really hasn't ever slowed me down. My dad taught me since I was a child that my disability is only a disadvantage if I allow it to be. So mentally, it took a toll when I was younger. When I was about 11, 12 years old, I kind of started to develop this like hate for the world because I just wanted to be like everybody else. But through time, I kind of progressed and learned that what I have is okay. Like it's okay to be like this. When I was younger, basketball kind of pushed me away from God because I wanted to play so bad, and I just felt like it was unfair. And I felt like why did God put this in my life if I couldn't play it? But in the same sense, it also pushed me towards God too because when I moved to Jennings in the 9th grade. My brother came to me and he was like, hey, do you want to come to Bethel? And I had no interest in coming to church. I had no interest in learning about God because I was young and didn't understand how He worked, and I felt betrayed by God. But he was like, hey, they have a basketball court. They're going to have a 2K trailer. So I solely came to Bethel just to play basketball. They kind of became a second family towards me, and I just started coming every day. Well, not every day, but I started coming more often. I youth lead now for Bethel, obviously. I youth lead. I have a small group, 7th and 8th grade, and I teach Bible study on Sundays. April 2nd, it was about 4:45 in the morning. I remember very vividly. I just went to bed. I just got off the game at about 4 o'clock, and my brother walks into the room. I'm half asleep, and he says, Caitlin has been shot. Her husband killed her, and that's my sister's name. I kind of thought it was a dream because me and my brother never say her real name. We always say KK. But then I kind of heard my mom crying and my dad crying. And I've been alive for 18 years. I've never heard my dad cry. And for the first couple of hours, I kind of just sat in my bed. There wasn't no real emotion at the time. There was just disbelief, I guess. Just denial and just trying to figure anything else that could have happened but what was happening. I had nowhere else to go. I had nothing else to do. I kind of put on worship music and I just cried for hours. I didn't sleep for days. I'd really lost myself. But, my parents originally, before they left, they had to go to Alabama to get the kids and all this. So it was just me in our house in Jennings. I was completely broken. I had nothing. I leaned into James a lot because, James tells us to kind of find joy in our trials and tribulations for, I'm paraphrasing, for it breeds perseverance. It breeds strength. And that's what I had to lean into. Like I had people kind of keeping me up, telling me like, hey, you'll get through this. So it was easier, not easy, but it was easier to kind of be like, hey, I can get through this and this is going to make me better. The impact that the church has made in my life has just been so big because I kind of started to feel like the church saved my life in a way, when I was younger, because the road that I was leading down, it was either death or jail because I grew up in a terrible environment and I just lived poorly, and the church kind of pulled me out of that. And I was younger and I battled depression like most of you probably. I battled with anger issues. I still to this day, but this church has kind of been a shoulder that I can lean on. It's been a person that's kind of just grabbed me and hugged me and just told me, everything's gonna be all right. We're gonna get through this together. You're not by yourself. They did the same thing when my parents had moved. They made sure that I wasn't alone and I wasn't by myself, and I had people I can lean on. So if you're a person out there that you feel like you have nobody, you feel like you're alone, you feel like the entire world is against you, you feel like your life itself is unfair, this place is the place to be. Like this place, saves lives, like it says in the motto. It saved my life at a very young age. I'm from Jennings, but I live with my nanny and like Arthur. Like my nanny and my uncle have been the biggest blessing to me. Every time I need to go somewhere, they say yeah, they take me. They never tell me no. So they're how I get back and forth to the church, how I get to work, how I get to school. They have been the real definition of family to me. I work at the hospital here in Jennings. This job works well for me because I'm in school to be a surgical tech. So when I get out of school, I can get a job immediately at the hospital that I work at. The biggest blessing God has been doing in my life is probably youth leading. These students kind of give me a purpose. They've become kind of a reasoning behind my pain, if that makes sense. Like this, they've turned my pain into a purpose. I have these kids I can teach through everything that I've been through.
So, Steve.
So Megan, Miss Megan.
You've been limited a lot in your life. You talked about that. And so we at Bethel, we want you to know that you're never alone. We will always be your family. We love you. We want you to know that the Lord sees you. Your family left, but the Lord is with you and He never leaves you. And I know you know that. You've been so special to us. You've been special to me. You went from a student in youth ministry to you're becoming an amazing leader. You're equipping students to lead. And so we have a gift for you here at Bethel.
Okay.
And so open that. We want you to not be limited anymore. And so those are keys to a vehicle.
Please, it better not be a toy car.
I want you to know that we gave a little.
Mm-hmm.
Bethel could only give $2,500, and that doesn't get much, right? But the Lord sees you,
Mm-hmm.
and I know He smiles upon you because you give it your all to those students. You are serving the kingdom, and He took a little, and it was like the fishes and the loaves, and He gave you a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He multiplied it. So you are getting a $12,000 vehicle that will have a warranty.
I ain't never seen that much.
It's in mint condition, so you can still get the ladies in there. It looks immaculate, low mileage. We want you to have something that's reliable so you can get to school, so you can get to church, so you can get here on Sunday mornings, and you don't have to worry about a ride. We don't want you to be limited anymore. We want you to have all the resources. So while we're waiting, while this is in the process, I am going to work with you to get the equipment that you need to be able to drive it. I'm going to help you get your driver's license. We're going to research insurance companies and get insurance on the vehicle. I'm going to help you budget for gas and oil changes and things like that. So when this car gets here, you are ready to go. And I hope you know, Steve, that here at Bethel, we love you and we care.
Love you more.
Congratulations.
Did we get the hug now?
Yeah, I'm so excited.
You've believed in me when you didn't have to. You had a blind faith in me when you didn't have to, and you've kind of saved my life as well. You've been a second mom. You've been just a beautiful person in my life. And finally, to the church. I've said it already, but I'll keep saying it till I die. I haven't done anything in my life. God worked through me with this church. I've just been a vessel that this church could use to do God's work. And I appreciate everything. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve everything that y'all have done for me. But thank you. I love y'all with everything in me. And until I move on to see the Lord, you will have my entire heart. Thank you.